What do you think of this list? Those are the magic words that I learned from Ellis Chase, who is a career coach that I worked with a long time ago, over 13 years ago. But I still remember this as being a very valuable tip. And the tip is, if you're doing a job search, and this can also be applied if you're searching for consulting projects, but let's say if you're doing a job search, it's very powerful if you come up with a list of target companies. And this may sound like totally obvious to you. If so, you can skip to the next episode. But a lot of people don't do this. Regularly, I have people reach out to me, and I'm happy to do this, asking me for help on their job search. And when I say, well, do you have a list of target companies? They often do not. So the idea of this is you create a target list of companies, and there might be several categories. So if you're looking at 2 or 3 different types of companies or even industries, that's fine. But what you do is for each of those categories, come up with a list of companies that are interesting to you. Maybe it's I want to work at a pet food company in the middle market. Okay, well then identify all of those companies. It's also very powerful to have a list of companies that you're not interested in working in, because that really shows you've done your homework. And then, so you create this list, and then the power of it is when you're having a networking discussion, meeting with someone, hoping to get their help on your search, you don't ask for introductions. You just say, what do you think of this list? And then hand it to them and then pause. Now, the person's going to look at the list. Now, particularly if you don't ask for introductions, the person's actually going to be even more likely to look through the list. Oh, company number 3, I know the CFO at this company. I'm happy to introduce you. Oh, this company, I know someone who just left there. I'm happy to introduce you so you can get a perspective on that company. So they can start looking at the list, and one thing the person may react by doing is offering to make intros. Great. The person may also react to companies on your wanted list and say, oh, you don't want to work at company number 7. I've heard they have this terrible corporate culture. They're losing money. They just lost a big customer, whatever. Or they can, seeing the companies on your excluded list will also help, because they can say, well, why do you not want to go to company 3, 4, or 5? And you can demonstrate that you've done your research on the companies on your wanted list. They can ask you to go through, and that also gives you a chance to explain why you're interested in them. That helps demonstrate that you're serious about this, that you're treating this like a real search, and that you've done your homework. So it makes the other person much more likely to help you out, because it's clearly you've done your homework. You're not just hanging, please help me. I have no idea what I'm doing, but you're treating this like a marketing project, where you've gone out, you've done your due diligence, you've searched the universe, and you identified a target set of companies that you think have met your criteria. The other thing, obviously, that helps is if the person looks at your list of, say, 10 or 15 companies that you're interested in. It gives them a sense of the kind of companies you're interested in. They may suggest other companies you haven't thought of. Oh, well, what about company 13 and 14? What about these companies? Should those go on your list? And then they can suggest additional companies to consider. So having a target list really helps in those conversations when you're looking for a job. It could also, obviously, the same kind of discussion can help if you're looking for potential introductions to project work. So if you identify, here are the list of companies that I would like to serve as a consultant, then when you're meeting with people, they can say, well, how can I help? And then you can say, well, what do you think of this list? Here's the list of companies I'd like to serve. And same thing. They may be able to introduce you. They may suggest additional companies. They may warn you against certain companies. They may give you insight on certain companies. Oh, well, I heard that these guys might be, launching a new product. Maybe you want to approach so-and-so about some kind of market entry work. So that's the tip. What do you think of this list? Thanks to Ellis Chase, who gave me that phrase and gave me this idea. If you go to umbrex.com/unleashed, you can sign up for the weekly email I send out. And I send out In that email, you'll get a list of the recent episodes with a quick summary of each one, so you can decide what episodes you might want to listen to. I also occasionally include some bonus material there. And if you are interested in giving this show a 5-star review on iTunes, that does help other people discover the show, and I would be grateful. Thanks for listening.